What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Jump Ball Central. Today we're looking at the worst officiated games in NBA history. At number 4, the comeback. People remember Game 7 of the 2000 Western Conference Finals for the incredible comeback by the Lakers, culminating in the most famous alley-oop in NBA history. What people don't remember are the bad calls that led to it. The Lakers had a 37-16 free throw advantage in that game. Two of Portland's biggest stars, Scottie Pippen and Arvydas Sabonis, fouled out. Neither were as high profile as franchise player Rasheed Wallace, but you could argue that they were more important in this particular game. Why? Because they were assigned to cover Kobe and Shaq. The free throw advantage is one thing. Obviously, when one team is shooting 21 more free throws than the other, it doesn't look very good. But when 12 of those fouls come at the expense of the guys responsible for holding down the opponent's two biggest stars, it starts to look really suspicious. If you're wondering, Pippen averaged less than 3 fouls per game over his career. With Sabonis out of the game, the Blazers had to defend Shaq at his absolute apex with 6'8" Brian Grant, and people wonder how the Blazers blew that game. I'm not going to cry wolf on this game though. As bad as the refs were, the Blazers blew it. If you can't hold a 15-point lead in the fourth quarter of Game 7, you don't deserve to win the title. Still, a convincing case could be made for the other side here. At number 3, Flopfest 2012. My reaction to Game 1 of the 2012 Knicks Heat first round series was brash and premature. I called it the worst officiated game in NBA history. As it turns out though, I wasn't too far off. The Heat had a 28-5 free throw advantage. In the first half, the Knicks shot the same number of free throws as times they were called for charging. In other words, they went to the line about as often as LeBron James flopped. Let's talk about LeBron for a minute. His flopping was so blatantly obvious that multiple NBA players actually tweeted about it. Klay Thompson said he'd never respect floppers. Patrick Patterson wondered, what kind of league are we becoming? You know, the game has turned into a joke when at halftime and the Oscar goes to is trending on Twitter. I don't believe the Knicks had any real shot at winning this game, even under fair circumstances, but the refs didn't exactly help. They were so afraid to play physical defense by the middle of the second quarter that the Heat basically got any shot that they wanted. I really want to throw the refs under the bus here because they did a terrible job, but something had to initiate it. LeBron has to shoulder just as much as the blame, and his ridiculous acting caused this in the first place. Take that with a grain of salt though, because I also blame LeBron for our national debt, the cancellation of Arrested Development, and world hunger. The bottom line is, you know something's up when prominent NBA writers like Bill Simmons tweet that they, quote, don't watch rigged games. We'll see how this plays out over the rest of that 2012 season, but LeBron continues to get calls like this, then the conspiracy theories will get plenty of evidence of the NBA rigging games. At number 2, Game 6 of the 2002 Western Conference Finals. The 2002 Lakers, as well as the team from our next slide, are one of two teams whose championships I adamantly refuse to validate. The Sacramento Kings win the 2002 NBA championship. Period. Remember, if not for a miracle three-pointer by Robert Horry and the travesty known as Game 6, the Kings would have won this series 5-1. I know that's impossible, but hang with me here. If you search NBA Rigged on YouTube, the first 3 videos are about this game. The video shows every bad call of that game. It's 8 minutes long. By the way, I highly encourage watching it if you're a fan of terrible calls. My personal favorite, fast forward to around the 5:30 mark. Kobe Bryant basically punched Mike Bibby in the face without a call. The infamy surrounding the game is just too severe to ignore. Having watched it live and seen the replays several times, I can say that it doesn't fade with time. But still, it was only one game, which is why it loses the number 1 spot to Games 3 and 6 of the 2006 NBA Finals. This series still sickens me. The NBA needed a star, so they created one. Never in the history, not only of basketball, but of sports as a whole, have referees so blatantly and continuously attempted to hand a championship to a player and a team. Let's look at the raw numbers. Dwayne Wade shot 97 free throws in 6 games. Good for a record in any 6-game NBA series. Only 2 off of the record from a 7-game series. In Game 5, amount as the entire Dallas team. If you don't think that these free throws are important, remember that games 3, 5, and 6 were all determined by 3 points or less. For some reason, numbers like that don't convince people, so let's go back and look. Say what you will, but I don't think any reasonable fan or person can deny that something weird was going on here. I'd go on about this, but I'm fairly certain Bennett Salvatore would read this and call a foul on me for speaking out against the Holy Wade. Well guys, that's going to wrap it up for this video of Jump Ball Central. If you enjoyed, do me a favor and hit that like button, subscribe, comment down below which one you think is the most rigged, easily number 1 for me, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay safe, have a great day.